Welcome back to Slow Draft Someday. And that someday today is Sunday. We got a couple DraftKings and a couple underdog drafts to look at today. This one, we're in round 17. Got a bunch of players queued up in this one. And this one I had to think through a lot before I kind of settle on the player that I wanted to go with here. But I think the player I want to go with here is Zachariah Branch. And I got him queued up here at the top just to remind me as well. I currently have a 2-5-7-2. My two tight ends are Dallas Goedert and Gunnar Helm. So I definitely need tight ends. And my guess is I probably had Terrence Ferguson maybe queued up and he got taken. Let's take a look. You scroll down here. Yeah, he got taken at pick 194. We took Gunnar Helm, who, has a lower ADP. He also or a higher ADP, a lower ADP. He gets drafted earlier. And then that also is a bring back on Aaron Rodgers. So it made sense on a couple different levels there as far as that goes. And so we definitely need tight ends, but I think we also need quarterbacks because we have Aaron Rodgers as our quarterback number two. We've Hurts as number one, so we're not like hurting, no pun intended, but we probably need another quarterback just in case Rodgers doesn't make it through the season or something like that. And I am a fan of Penix, and Penix is available. And on top of that, we got Zachariah Branch, who is kind of just trickling up the boards, not rising a lot. I don't think he's on the risers or anything like that. We can go and take a look at the DraftKings market mover, see if he is a riser. I don't think he is. We'll look really quick here. There's Ferguson, by the way, rising up the boards. Yeah, Zachariah Branch isn't a riser. He's definitely not a faller, as you can see, either. And so I think what we want to do here is we want to try to get a little bit of Atlanta correlation, get a little bit younger in our receiving room. We have Chase Collins, Watson. They're good receivers. And Brian Thomas. They're good. They're just, they're fine. They're really good, actually. But we can probably afford an eighth wide receiver on this team because we have Hall, Scatabo, Dowdle, Brooks, and Dobbins as our running backs. And so we can probably, we're stopping at five running backs here on this team. And so because of that, we can probably stop. He's not cute. Okay. So we can probably afford like an eighth wide receiver if we want to. And we could do like one more wide receiver, one QB, and then two tight ends basically, or something like that. So you can see here we have a lot of tight ends queued up. We got some QBs queued up. If we get Stowers, that would be great. Freiermuth would be good as well. If we can't get Freiermuth, we can hopefully get Darnell Washington at the end, and then one of the Atlanta QBs. So this is kind of like telling you what I want to do here at the end of the draft. Get like a little bit of an Atlanta thing going on for a third QB, and then tight ended up, and hopefully make those tight ends meaningful, like meaningfully correlated with the team as well. So with this pick here, with 10 minutes left on the clock, we're going with the trickling up the board, second based on ADP, actually 9 picks past ADP as well. So that's not bad. Get a value on it. Zachariah Branch. Not a player I'm really drafting a whole lot at all, but I think it makes sense for the team. Next up, we're going to do one more DraftKings draft, and then we're going to go to underdog. Okay. Oh, wow. Joe Burrow, Drake May, Johnston, and Stevenson. We got a 1-2-2-0 so far. We're in round 6. Didn't think acute. So Joe Burrow correlates because he's a bring back on the Baltimore thing, which I already have one QB on there. Drake May correlates because he's a bring back on the Jalen Waddle thing, which is an interesting one because neither of these players make it to pick 71 that often, and both of them made it to pick 71 here. And then Johnston is a bring back on Rashee Rice. I don't really want to draft Johnston, but I mean, he just keeps on rising up. This is based on he just keeps on rising up the boards. So I don't know. I guess we'll draft him sometimes when it makes sense, but not feel good about it any of the times. I think what makes the most sense here, because we already have this game with Lamar Jackson, I think it makes sense, and it's hard to backstack Joe Burrow. I think it makes sense actually to do Drake May with this pick. Let's see if the guy after me is going to be happy or not happy with that. He's going to be indifferent, I guess. He might just take Joe Burrow. This guy here passed. Oh, yeah. Okay. This guy here passed on Joe Burrow to get Jamar Chase. We had Tyler Warren also queued up just because this is kind of when we take him oftentimes is when he falls. He wouldn't have, I mean, like, he wouldn't have been anything special on this team, but considering this guy's got two of the two top tight ends might become more of a premium, especially if he keeps on pulling more tight ends up or something like that. But what we're going to do here is I think we're going to take Drake May, and then we're going to be probably done at quarterback with Drake May and Lamar Jackson. We're going to hope that Ramondre Stevenson makes it back to us. And that way we'll have Drake May with a kind of pass catchy and just an all-around running back to go with our stack and our bring back. And we definitely won't be stacking Rashee Rice unless I don't know, unless I guess Patrick Mahomes falls a lot or something like that, and there's nothing else we like. But we're gonna go with Drake May with this pick and see if we can get Ramondre Stevenson with the next pick. And then we'll have to definitely, hit we might hit one more running back. We've been doing that a lot, like four early running backs, depending on what's available. And then we'll have light tight ends as well, so we don't have to worry about getting like some of the better tight ends unless they fall. And so it's kind of like maybe running backs, wide receivers, and then hit on tight ends a little bit later on. Okay, Drake May it is. There we go. A 2-2-2. 0. 2-2-2-0. Okay, let's move on over to Underdog. Got an hour left on this one, and I think we looked at this one before. I have a 3-4-6-1 going into the 15th round here, with our only tight end being AJ Barner. Do we take him with our last pick? We did. AJ Barner at pick 164. This guy took two tight ends here in Sadiq and Hawkinson. And we have Kadon queued up because he stacks with Baker Mayfield. Not that in to get Cade Otton personally. I think if Dalton Schultz was drafted, we'd probably take Cade Otton. We'd be tempted by Gunnar Helm maybe, but Cade Otton would be a stack. Problem with Kadon is that we've Chris Godwin, so we already got this game stacked up. We don't need another player on that game on that side of the game. The problem with Ott is that if there's other receivers out there, and Tampa Bay is just has so many pass catchers. Now they got even, they still have pass catchers out of the backfield as well. They didn't lose them. They got a new one instead in Gainwell instead of White. That Otton just doesn't produce when there's target competition. He only has produced when there is no target competition. There's going to be target competition again. Plenty of wide receivers on the field. They drafted another one, even though they lost Evans. He was hurt most of the year. Otton still couldn't produce a whole ton with it. I like it when you draft him late, but I don't see the point in pulling him up. And I know some people are pretty darn high on Schultz overall. Even though he's got target competition, he seems to still kind of get enough passes funneled to him. We're going to trust the masses here and just take the player that's past ADP as opposed to pulling another player up basically a whole round, right? Yeah, a whole round, 186. Yeah, almost a whole round. And really, if you ask me, I kind of hope that Otton gets taken so I don't have to make a decision here and I just take Ferguson with the next one. And Ferguson is a bring back on Tampa Bay as well, so it works there, but it's also, I think, a more exciting pick. We're going to go Schultz with this one just to take the ADP value and see what happens from there. For our second tight end, we're going to go two more tight ends probably in a row here, as you can see by who got queued up. And then our last pick will be a wide receiver, most likely, or another tight end, maybe. So either it's wide receiver, tight end is what it is. It's one of the two. Probably not running back. Wide receiver, tight end, probably. Okay, we got another one on underdog here. This one, I think I had Davante Adams queued up as an option just because he goes like pick 50, 51, and on 57, he was still there. It would have been nice to have him fall to me. So the question here is, so this is the one this is the one I like the most, Christian Watson. I don't like that he's playing against Houston in week 17, though. Let's go look at our leverage lab and see if we've done this before with who do we got going on here? CeeDee Lamb's our first pick. So let's see if we're like doing a Watson CeeDee Lamb thing a lot. Okay, so we've done CeeDee Lamb 4 times so far. We've stacked them up a lot with just all sorts of Cowboys. Not much bringbacks though on the Giants. That's a little bit unfortunate that we haven't been able to make that happen. Watson is he's not one of our top 10 players, I can tell you that much. Or top 8, I guess, players. Let's see if we have him on there. Okay. But he is one of our higher ones. He's on 50% of the CeeDee Lamb teams have Christian Watson on them. So these are the players we have on those teams now. We just synthesized this for Watson and CeeDee Lamb. We got Lamb and then Hampton and then Higgins. Lamb, Hampton, Higgins. No Hampton. And no T. Higgins either. Okay. So we could do Christian Watson again if we wanted to, knowing that we're only correlating with the first pick and not the other picks. But we do have him already on, like we were saying, let's unsynthesize that on 50% of the teams with CeeDee Lamb. We don't want to just have all the teams have Christian Watson on them. In addition, I think we already know who our stacking partners are going to be in this one if everything works out correctly. Let's just confirm. Yeah, so with pick 64, we can take what's his face? Joe Burrow. And with pick 81 or 88, depending on what's going on, we can take Dak Prescott. Where's Neighbors? And Neighbors went here. So Dak Prescott or where is he? Dak Prescott. Or if we really wanted to, we could also try to get Jackson Dart at pick 105 potentially. Because we will not have to compete with the Neighbors drafter. We'd have to compete with other drafters. These two guys already have top end QBs, which means that if we want to, we can try to push. We can be even a little more risky if we want to and try to push Dak from 81 to 88 if there's something else we like at 81. There's not a lot of exciting stuff around that range, I don't think. So, yeah, not a lot of exciting stuff. It'd have to be like Pollard or Warren, like one of these running backs maybe falling or something like that. But if they didn't fall, I think we could just go and take Dak and figure out the rest from there, I think. Yeah, so I guess what I'm getting at is we don't need Christian Watson here because we don't even need to worry about the stack. Do we have any DJ Moore or Carnell Tate with them? Let's take a look. These are all four teams. No DJ Moore, no Carnell Tate. So we could do either of those players. And if we were to look at our underdog market movers, let's just do it for fun. Let's see if DJ Moore is still a value, a screaming value. I think he is. Yeah, look at that. Still the third highest value. 9.5 picks cheaper. And I think this is the time when we want to do it. We don't want to draft I don't want to draft a ton of him, but he's best available based on ADP. We don't need the stack. We can't stack. And not someone that we're going to draft a whole ton, but kind of makes sense on this team a little bit. Let's go take a look at how much DJ Moore we have. I don't think we have a whole lot. Yeah, it's okay, 7.1%. So we're kind of at the market is what we're at when it comes to DJ Moore. A little bit below market when it comes to DJ Moore. We got him, actually, we've taken him ahead of ADP by just a tad. We've not been able to stack him up at all and not really bring back either. So we've just kind of randomly taken him a couple times. We will do it again here since we don't have any DJ Moore with CeeDee Lamb. People are down on him. Sometimes that's when they're a good pick too. Okay, two more. Oh, we got Waddle queued up here. Pick 40. It's past ADP. We're taking it, is what we're doing. We took Cam Scatabo actually past ADP at 47 when he usually goes at 43. And it was kind of one of those things where like, should we take Waddle and hope that Scat comes back, or should we take Scatabo and hope that Waddle comes back? Oh, we went Scatabo thinking that this guy would go and take, he did say Flowers. We were thinking he'd take Lamar Jackson, and we're hoping that he would take like Jameson Williams to stack up with Gibbs. He ended up taking the Jameson Williams, which is kind of our theory is why we let Waddle go and took Scatabo. Scatabo had a higher ADP, and we thought he would probably more likely go receiver with Williams if there wasn't a great ADP value, and there wasn't. And so he went he went with Williams. And but he went Tune instead. So if we didn't take Scat, we'd probably lose out on Scat unless he was just going to do that the whole time. Who knows? Either way, we're doing this. This works out really well because we get the running back we want. We also get the bring back on the KC game with Jalen Waddle. Waddle is he rising up the boards? Is he one of our market movers, or is he just kind of slowly inching up the boards? Let's see. I think he might be one of our underdog market movers. Jalen Waddle is one of our market movers, up half a round or half a pick, sorry, in the past 2 days. Not a lot of players moving a whole ton, but he's high enough up the boards that little move is going to put him on the list. He is the 19th highest mover on the boards right now, and trying to make himself solidly essentially in the fourth round. And so we're happy to take him here in the fifth round while we can still do it with the bring back. That's going to be tougher. It's going to be tougher to do, tougher to do, obviously. But we like this. Okay. Jalen Waddle, welcome to the team. We got one more to go. No one queued up. We got Josh Jacobs and Cam Scatabo and Mike. So like all these players are fun players is what they are. And so which one do we do? with this is the question, I guess. Christian McCaffrey is our first round pick here. Let's go take a look and see what we got going on with Christian McCaffrey. I don't think we have a whole lot of him below market, if I'm not mistaken. I think we're gonna try to stay below 8.3 or less for the most part. I don't think we want to get above that unless for some reason we just end up in a lot of drafts where he falls and we just kind of get nice value for unique combinations. But we've only drafted him twice, so definitely below market right now, about half the market, a little more than half the market on him. We've taken him on average pick of 6. He goes 7.1. So I don't know what that's all about, but that's what we got going on. When did we take him on this one for fun? Did we take him at 7? Yeah, at 7, 1.7. So the question is, like, do we have any Josh Jacobs or Cam Scatterbo with him? And we've only done, again, 2 drafts. So no Cam, no Josh Jacobs with either of the ones we've done so far. So I guess we're just going to do one of them is what we're going to do. There isn't really any news out there recently that's, swaying it one way or the other way. They're not really moving based on ADP right now, but I do expect them to start moving. And I don't know who's going to move first. Would it be like news that says Josh Jacobs won't be charged? That would probably move him up pretty quickly. Cam Scatterbo's already gotten like clean bills of health and stuff like that, and he hasn't moved up at all. So I don't know what would do it, but we're going to take one of these two players. Scatterbo's week 8, Christian McCaffrey's week 8. We'll just go Josh Jacobs on this one. If it happens again, we'll probably take Cam on the next one. I think it's kind of a toss-up 50-50-50, which one we want. We've seen Cam Scatterbo fall further down the board. So could he get all the way to 55? Probably not. But if he did, we would take him. Josh Jacobs, welcome to the team. Okay, there we go. Those are our drafts for the day. We are heavy on Josh Jacobs right now. We're trying to, play the risk part of this and hope that he ends up playing the whole season, or that we have good enough teams that if he does get suspended, we still got a good price and we can get some of the teams through. We are currently double the market on Josh Jacobs. You can see that I think we probably took him a couple times, in the 20s or like the 30s, but we've got it now at 39.0 when he's at 40.2 right now. So we've gotten him pretty cheap a couple times, most likely, to get our average pick up to the market ADP. Basically, we've stacked them up 3 times with Jordan Love. Got a decent amount of bringbacks going on, at least on, 2 of them with CJ Stroud, maybe 3 of them total. And yeah, that's what we got going on with Josh Jacobs. There we go. Some underdogs, some DraftKings. Let me know what you think in the comments and see you in the next one. Peace.